So welcome, let's get started. We're going to be, a couple things that I want to say. This is your practice. This is your time. You do you. You do what you need. A huge piece of yoga is really coming in to hone what do I need exactly? What does my body, mind, heart need in this moment? So please allow my words to be a guide and only a guide. But if you need more, please do more. If you need less, please do less. If you need to stop and do something, just lie down or sit and breathe or do something different, go ahead, and please, you have full permission, and please give yourself permission to do that. It's really an important part of practice. So I want to make sure that we're really clear about that. This practice is here to support you in all the ways you need. So we're going to begin either on all fours or in a chair. If it's uncomfortable for you to be on your knees or your wrists, these couple of movements can easily be accomplished seated. So, and you might wish, if you're on the mat, to have some added padding with your blanket, some support. You can do that as well. So whether in the chair or on all fours, we're going to come into some arch and curl, cat and cow. If you are on all fours, see that the wrists are directly under the shoulders and the knees are directly under the hips. So you have this nice box here, and you're really pulling up out of the wrists so that we don't create too much here. And you can also come up on fists if you'd like, if that's easier for you. So we start by inhaling and coming into an arch. Let the belly drop, let the tailbone and the crown move away from each other, widen the collarbones, the gaze is coming perhaps forward. And as we exhale, we curl, dropping the tail, making a C curve of the spine. Inhale, lengthen, arching. And exhaling and curling. This beautiful primary movement of the spine is so strong, so nourishing and healing as we begin to connect breath and movement. Take it in your own tempo. Just see what that is. And the main thing is to coordinate so breath and movement align. Making space between the discs, not between the vertebrae, for the intervertebral discs, that is what I meant. So important for spinal health. And then coming back to neutral. We're going to thread the needle. We're going to take one arm down behind the other. If you're sitting in the chair, what that is going to look like is either bringing the arm across the chest, or even to the opposite knee and twisting this way, or even coming to the elbow and taking the hands in prayer and twisting in that way. The main thing we're seeking here is some opening for the upper shoulders and between the shoulder blades. All right, so here we go. Right arm is coming across, so inhale the right arm out to the side. Exhale, thread it behind the left wrist, palm facing up. Lay the shoulder down. You can press into the left fingertips. Just give a little twist to this barrel of the rib cage, the torso, and then you'll see where you want to go from here. Maybe you're sticking with pressing into those fingertips. Maybe you're taking the left arm up towards the ceiling, palm facing away. Maybe you're internally rotating the left arm and taking it behind the back and hooking around the thigh, right? So just see what's right for you. Main thing is, let's kind of bring up some sensation in and around that right shoulder blade in particular. Slow, smooth, steady. breaths. And then coming on down, pressing into the left hand to come up, and we take the other side. And again, if you're in the chair, finding your way as you bring the left arm across the body. Those of you on the floor pressing into those right fingertips, just see what you need. Feel into that sweet spot. You always know when you find it. Just beginning to untangle what might be here. So pressing into those right fingertips or sending the arm up toward the ceiling, letting the palm face forward, or turning the palm, internally rotating the arm, and wrapping the arm behind the back and even maybe catching the left thigh. So you see what you need. Where is your mind? See if you can bring it back to anchor in sensation. Find what feels good here. And then as you're ready, unravel. We're going to take a quad stretch, sending the right foot forward, like so. If you're standing at the chair, this can be accomplished here as well. So right foot forward, left knee is down. Come up to square before you just kind of flop forward. Come up to these right angles here. Lengthen the tailbone. Draw the lower belly in and up. Support the low back here. Really create a nice foundational architecture. Most especially that lengthening of the tailbone. And from here, we can start to press the hips forward. Right, so especially for any of us who are hyper flexible, sometimes we just want to come forward and then we really come out of alignment in the back in this striving to find something that seems so open, but in the end kind of isn't. So the more we lengthen the tailbone and draw up on the low belly, the more we can feel that actually in the quad and in the hip flexor. So playing with this. And then if you would like to add a twist to it, taking left arm up and across. Prayer hands. And if you'd like to add to that, feel free to tuck the back toes, raise the knees, send the heel back. So just see where you want to be on that one. And then coming on back, and we'll just simply switch sides. So again, finding that squareness first off. I really find again and again in my own experience, in my own learning, that less is more. See how that works out for you in your experience. So lengthening that tailbone, drawing the lower belly in and up, feeling how that begins to create some sensation through that right thigh, the quads, the hip flexor, and then from here coming forward. You may be really happy just working on this. Or you may want to take that twist on the second side. See how that goes. You may want to add to it by tucking the back toes, lifting the knee, and sending the heel back. And decide what's needed for you today in this moment in your own practice. And then come on back. Feel free to have a seat while I share a little bit of teaching. If you'd like to close your eyes, feel free to do so, just taking it in through the whole system. Or if you would like to continue with some light movement while I share, please, by all means. So as I said, today is the 26th of Av, and Rosh Chodesh Elul is coming Wednesday night, Thursday, and Friday. we are working with this wonderful book by Rabbi Alan Lu Zichrono Livracha, and he talks about. I'm going to teach a little bit from our teaching this week from Rabbi Sam Feinsmith, as well as from the book. And I encourage you, if you haven't signed up for the Shofar Project explicitly yet, to please do so. Jet will put that link in the chat for us after, so we can do it. I encourage you to read each week, and even to attend the sessions live on Tuesdays, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, if you're able. So Rabbi Alan Lu talks about how this period actually has begun back at Tisha B'Av, that leads us toward the high holidays. Tisha B'Av is the moment of turning, the moment when we turn away from denial and begin to face exile and alienation as they manifest themselves in our own lives. In our alienation and estrangement from God, in our alienation from ourselves and from others. Tshuva, turning, repentance, is the essential gesture of the high holiday season. It's the gesture by which we seek to heal this alienation and to find at-one-ment. Atonement, at-one-ment, to connect with God, to reconcile with others, to anchor ourselves in the ground of our actual circumstances, so that it is this reality that shapes our actions and not just the habitual, unconscious momentum of our lives. So in fact, we've already begun in late July, a few weeks ago. Tisha B'Av was July 26, 27, this cycle of looking inward. Sam asks, what then needs to collapse so that we might rebuild ourselves spiritually from the ruins, right? And we're looking at that question, and he shares with us a beautiful piece from Buddhist teacher Tara Brach, who talks about the masks that we wear in our lives. And she says, if we move through life trapped behind these masks, we miss out on connection and intimacy with our world. Isn't that more of what we're looking for? Connection and intimacy with ourselves, with each other, and with our world. Isn't that our aim? She says, in relating to ourselves and others, we forget the awareness and love that animates our true being. So that's what we're looking to really cultivate and recultivate this month, working to restore ourselves. She says, in the stillness and clarity of presence, we see our masks for what they are, temporary and sometimes useful personas, but not our essential being. And with presence, we can see past the masks of others to the consciousness looking out through their eyes, the tenderness residing in their hearts. So tshuva, Sam tells us, the work of tshuva is none other than the work of turning and returning to our essential being as loving awareness. So we need a little bit of a tool for this. And as you may know, Elul, Aleph, Lamed, Vav, Lamed, this month has an acronym of Ani Lidodi Vidodi Li. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. That famous verse from Song of Songs. Seeing Elul as an acronym for that. Our teacher, Sheila Peltz-Weinberg, says this. First, we need the softness of an internal beloved to approach the hard work of self-examination. We need to know that there is an eternal and internal source of deep acceptance that will not abandon us, even if we fall short of whatever hopes and goals we construct. So in Elul, may we connect with this Ani Lidodi Vidodi Li, this eternal and internal beloved. Sam goes on to tell us, as we do our practice, we may grow in our capacity to bear witness to our inner experience without getting swept into the current. As our awareness deepens, we may begin to notice how, like all other phenomena, These personas are impermanent and conditioned, constructed from a patchwork of fleeting sensations, feelings, thought patterns, and beliefs that come together under the right circumstances and then dissolve as circumstances change. And as we begin to see through the walls of our constructed false identities, we might discover a luminous, unchanging, loving awareness at the core of our being, right? That internal beloved, or God, or any name for which we know and recognize God. Maybe that's awareness. Maybe that is witness consciousness, divine source, timelessness, timeless one, whatever name, we begin to cultivate that. So what does that mean in our yoga practice? In yoga, we come to the mat both as a scientist and as an artist. We're looking for alignment, and we're looking for playfulness and creativeness as we allow ourselves to be a vessel for these beautiful, beautiful poses. And as we say, the issues are in the tissues. These patterns, these masks, these habitual patterns, they're contained very deeply within our nervous system, within our fascia, within our musculature, right? And we can work to know them through movement. Lastly, I just want to share that our Torah portion from last week and our Torah portion from this week come to bear witness as well. Last week was Re'eh, see. I set before you a blessing and a curse, and we're trying to discern how to best see, how to see and know through the body. And this week, Parshat Shoftim, which says, set before yourself judges at your gates. And the Iturei Torah talks about the gates, the sensory gates, the two eyes, the two ears, the two nostrils, and the mouth as our gates. So in yoga, we work very strongly with these sensory gates in order to open us up during this month of Elul and self-inquiry. So that's where we're going in our practice through this month. Let's come to a ragdoll position. Folded over, keeping a bend on the knees and letting the whole torso just drape. Breathing here. You might want to swing it a little bit side to side. And then as you're ready, take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, press through the feet, draw the navel toward the spine, and start to stack vertebra by vertebra as you draw up toward standing. When we come to standing, we find ourselves in mountain pose, grounding the feet, the four corners of the feet, inner and outer heels, mound of the big toe over to the mound of the little toe. Just finding this stable foundation here. And then let's inhale and take the arms up. The arms can be parallel, or the arms can be as wide as you need, or elbows can even be bent depending on what's going on in your own personal shoulders. If the arms are extended upward, turn the palms to face one another, spread the fingers, really open the palms wide. And then see about the shoulder blades. Are your shoulders coming up toward your ears? See if you can drop the shoulder blades down the back, make some space in the neck, and just breathe here as sensation begins to build, perhaps. And then we're going to take a side bend over to the right. A couple of options. Maybe you'll take the feet together and perhaps you'll take right hand to the right hip and come this way, or perhaps you'll take hold of the left wrist with the right hand and pull a little bit as you come over. So any way you're doing this, choosing to do this side bend, lifting up as we come over. And then inhale up, and we'll change sides. Again, hand to hip, or taking hold, in this case, of the right wrist with the left hand. It would be lengthening and coming over. And then inhale and come up. We're going to look at a couple of standing poses, starting with Warrior Two. Just a refresher, Warrior Two looks like this. And if you're wishing to use the chair, you might take it like this. So, wide feet. Turn the left toes in and the right toes out. Inhale the arms up. They might be shoulder height with the palms facing down, or they might be at the hip. And exhale, bend through that right knee to come into the pose. So either with the chair or without, just beginning to find the hips today a little bit. The back leg is lengthened and straightened, and see that that front knee does not come past the front ankle. Wherever you are. A few breaths here. Again, ground those shoulder blades down. And then release, come on out. We'll change to the other side. One more thing of note, the front heel bisects the back arch. Inhale the arms up to wherever you're going to be today, and then exhale, come into the pose. So I learned from a teacher of mine many, many years ago, a meditation teacher, tension is an anesthetic to itself. Tension is an anesthetic to itself. So as we try to remove these masks, in fact, sometimes we don't even know what we're feeling. It takes a while because things are kind of numb. There's so much tension that we don't feel. So we might find when we're beginning a practice, we're not really sure where to direct our attention or what we're feeling. As you're ready, you can come on out. So be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself if there aren't a lot of feelings and sensations. Or maybe there are too many and you need to back out of a pose a little bit. Turning the feet again to the left, we're going to come to triangle pose. So one option is to have the chair behind you for some support. I'll show that. Again, the same thing. Right toes turned out, left toes turned in. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, shift the hips over to the left as the torso comes to the right. And then maybe the hand comes to the chair. Maybe you're coming down further. More traditional pose. Top arm might be at the hip, it might be up. Head gaze might be forward or might be up toward the ceiling. You decide. Both legs are straight. Really feeling a sense of that inner line of the right leg here. And then when you're ready, inhale and come up. Switch sides. Switch the chair if you're using the prop. Ooh. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, shift the hips, shift the torso, coming down. So see where that is for you today. Now, if you start to come down and you see that the torso starts to turn towards the floor, you might need to back out and begin to open the torso so it's facing forward, facing into the room. Finding your sweet spot, finding your pose, right? Cultivating this internal beloved means cultivating a compassion for yourself that moves away from competition with yourself and into compassionate care. As you're ready, inhale and come on up. We're going to take tree pose. You're going to shift over to the left leg as the standing leg. And we're going to turn out from the right hip. So a few options. You can take the foot to the chair, take your tree pose here, and just let the sitting bone drop. Or you can balance with the foot at the ankle or the calf, or above the knee, but you don't want to ever press the foot to the knee. So finding your tree pose today, seeing what that looks like, pressing the foot to the leg and the leg to the foot, finding an easy, soft gazing point. And then as you're ready, release. And we'll take the other side. So however you want to take tree today, if you're using the chair, it gives you a little more stability. It gives you a sense of evening out the hips. So you choose. And then when you're ready, release. Coming back to mountain pose, to center here, right? This is kind of all the poses, I think, like home base and the one that wears no masks, the one that really helps us to be as present as possible, to see how to remove habit. I'm kind of coming back to home base and just taking stock. How are you feeling? What do you notice? What do you observe? Then we're going to come on to the floor. Now this first one is going to be standing on a knee. So again, if that's not a comfortable thing for you, you're going to stay standing and take the leg to the chair. We're going to be doing gate pose. Okay, so want to point out that opportunity. Or you'll come to the floor, and again, you may want some support for your knee. You'll see what you need. We're going to be standing on the left knee, sending the right leg out to the side. And you can choose either the heel flexed with the toes pointing up toward you, or turning the foot down. That's a little more the traditional pose, but it may not feel good in your hips. So check out what you need here. We take the right palm and we turn it up and place it against the right thigh. And then the hand, left hand to the hip. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, take a little side bend here. Let the fingers of the right hand move down the leg. And if you want to add more, bring that arm up and over. So this is a big side stretch. Both sides lifting. Right? No collapse to come over. And see again that you're not coming forward. This is really a true side bend. So it might just be a couple inches, and that's plenty. We're really finding that line. And then inhale, come on up, and we'll switch sides. Standing on the right knee, left leg out to the side. Again, the foot might be flexed or the toes might be turned down to the floor. Turn the palm up on the left hand. Inhale, so it might be hand to hip, it might be arm coming up and over. Really use the breath, maybe a ha, exhale with or without sound. Sounding is always really, really helpful to help connect us deeply. To keep the flow moving, to keep us from any glitches, to keep us from holding. And as you're ready, inhale and come on up. Next, we're going to stand on the knee and take camel pose. So again, if you don't prefer to be standing on your knees, don't worry, there's a pose for you. Pressing the hands down, and we can take it like this, standing, right? Or like this. I want to also offer to those of us who are on our knees that we can take the chair behind us, and I'll get to that in a moment. Okay, so standing on the knees, we got a nice warm up for the quads and the hip flexors, and we opened the side body and started to open up the torso a little. Now we're going to take some backward extension, lifting the heart. So first, taking the hands as if you're putting them into your jeans pockets, press the buttock flesh down the body, draw the elbows toward each other and the shoulder blades toward each other as you inhale and lift the heart up. It might be so imperceptible, but the feeling is that from the sternum, from the mid-chest here, we're lifting up almost as if there's a string from your sternum up to the ceiling, right? So we're not coming back like this. We're really just lifting up. Let's start there. Elbows draw together, toward each other, not together, but toward each other. Lifting up and then come back to center. Now for some of us, it might be easy to reach back and grab the heels, so you can go for that. For others of us, it can be very nice to have this chair here. Take the hands to the chair. Inhale, lift the heart. We're just coming in a little further here and take the hands down the chair a little bit. You can find a spot, right? Or even back here. You know, we all have different chairs. If you're working with a bridge chair like me, there are a few nice opportunities. So I'm rolling my arms out, externally rotating, taking them inside the frame of the chair and lifting back and up. Beautiful pose, right? Or maybe you're going for something more classic. Toes can be tucked under and reach the heels, or the tops of the feet down, right? But what we're really aiming for here is this lift and this opening, and prioritizing that over the coming back. So come on in and out a couple times on that one. Work in your own body, in your own time. And then as you're ready, release. I'm going to look for a counter pose. Options. It might be child pose. It might be puppy pose. If you're standing, it might be dropping forward, hands or forearms or forehead to the chair, folding over. And find something that feels like a worthy counter pose. Set your sensory judges at the gates. So puppy pose is with the bottom in the air, long spine. Or it could be on the forearms, or child pose, drawing the buttocks back toward the heels, lengthening forward. This is quite a lot of forward fold, so it might feel like too much as a counter pose for some to camel. So just see what you're needing. And be here and investigate. Breathe. Cultivating the internal beloved. As you're ready, coming on to your back. Laying it down. We're just going to take an easy bridge pose, or you can take a deeper bridge pose if you like. You'll decide. Drawing the heels toward the sitting bones. Heels in line with the sitting bones. The hands are holding the outer edges of the mat. Spine is neutral, so there is a little curvature in the spine. We're going to inhale in this neutral spine, and then exhale, lengthen the tailbone toward the knees, press the lower back to the floor, draw the navel to the spine, and then press into the feet to lift the hips up. So just a baby bridge. Sometimes I refer to this as hammock because it just feels like a hammock for the abdominal organs. Not rolling the shoulders under you or anything, just feeling this lengthening of the spine and this lifting up of the hips. Maybe you feel some sensation building in the thighs. And then on your next exhale, dropping vertebra by vertebra to the floor. And then if you want to come up higher on the next one, inhale here in neutral spine. Exhale, navel to spine, tailbone lengthens. Press into the feet, press up, and then this time start to roll the shoulders under you. Maybe the hands are still holding either side of the mat, or maybe they're moving toward clasping each other, holding hands with yourself. Sending those knuckles toward the feet, seeing that the knees don't splay. Let there be some space for the throat. The chin is moving toward the chest, but not on the chest. And there's some space for the neck. And then when you're ready, releasing hands, widening the shoulders, lowering down vertebra by vertebra. Take the knees in, take your hands to the knees, cross ankles, either way, either one on top, and just make some circles with the knees. Let that be guided by your hands. Elbows are straightening and bending, taking small circles in one direction. And then cross the ankles the other way and take the circles in the other direction. And then we take a moment to come into stillness. Just letting what we've learned, what the nervous system has garnered, just letting it come into stillness. So you can find any way that you want to be still. It might be with knees bent and soles of the feet on the floor. Particularly if you have any low back issues, it can be nice to keep knees bent. You might lengthen the legs long. You might take the blanket and roll it up and make a bolster for your knees. Lots of choices here. If you're wearing glasses, you can remove them. Allow the palms to face up. If you have more time to take for Shavasana, for relaxation, quiet today, I encourage you certainly to do that. You can just turn the video off and take your time. If you're returning to your day, you can give the fingers and the toes a little wiggle. Make circles with ankles and wrists. You might take the arms overhead and take a nice yawn, stretch, sigh. Lengthen the body long. And then draw the knees in toward the chest. Give them a hug. And roll over onto your side. Allow your upper arm to be a pillow for your head. And pause here. Just feel the breath coming and going. And then as you're ready, press into the hands, come on up to a comfortable seat, either on the blanket or in your chair. We can close with some direct attention to this essential gesture, as Rabbi Lu calls it, this essential gesture of tshuva, from the root to return, lashuv. Returning again and again to the miracle of this breath, just following the breath as it comes in and as it goes out. And we might even feel this breath and this return to breath, this tshuva to the breath, to this elemental source of life. We might connect with breath as the internal beloved. So as we close, I want to read once again these beautiful words of Rabbi Sheila Peltz-Weinberg about Elul, Anile Dodi Vedodili. First, we need the softness of an internal beloved to approach the hard work of self-examination. We need to know that there is an eternal and internal source of deep acceptance that will not abandon us, even if we fall short of whatever hopes and goals we construct. We're just feeling that wave of breath, potentially as internal beloved, as friend. And as you're ready, allow the eyes to open if they've been closed. Just coming back to the textures, the colors, the air in the room where you are, and to your day. Thank you all for practicing today. Shavua Tov, a good week, and Chodesh Tov, a good month.